So this Bernie Sanders supporter just put out a fantastic ad. Today we're going to check that out. So a Bernie Sanders supporter whose Twitter handle is ORF, O-R-F, made an absolutely stunning ad for Bernie Sanders, really showing the disparity in coverage and how they treat him and this narrative that they try and create in order to basically disparage him whenever they can, even when it's unnecessary and completely unfounded. Today we're going to check out that ad. It's like on a 4-minute, 5-minute side, but I promise you, sit through the whole thing. It is absolutely worth it. Let's check it out.
Bernie is back.
Getting into the presidential race.
Democrats like somebody new, and that is not going to be Bernie Sanders this time.
It's really hard to imagine who the Bernie Sanders voter is at this point.
Bernie Sanders, fall back. Please get away from us.
Hey, Senator, great to see you.
Thank you for doing this.
He has a kind of gruff, curmudgeon-y side that is, of course, well known. He doesn't actually smile that much.
It's almost like Bernie can't tell the difference between kids and adults.
All right, I think you're dumb. I think you're dumb if you don't sit down and learn how to read and write. No, you were not born stupid. Come here. The only way I think you're dumb, I think when you think you're dumb, because you're not.
I think you're disheveled, you're unlikable, and you're pushy, and I don't think you should be leading anybody.
How old is too old?
I think the issue is, do you seem like you're in the contemporary world? He's a socialist from the 1950s yelling at people in the same screechy voice, without smiling, without any kind of personal connection. He looked like the angry man in the center of the stage saying, "Get off my lawn." And I don't think that's a good look for the Democratic Party.
I see him as sort of a not pro-woman candidate. You may have heard the term Bernie bro. The Bernie bro, right? Somebody who's a bit younger, whiter, I think, than the overall Democratic primary.
I'm with my magnificent vanilla brother named Bernie Sanders. That's Brother Bernie Sanders we're talking about. That's Brother Bernie Sanders we're talking about.
Socialism has been a manifest disaster.
Alec would still be here today if I had known that I could come to Canada.
Alex Smith died after trying to ration a vial of insulin when he couldn't afford more.
So his idea about, free health care, he has seen the manifest atrocities that have occurred under socialism.
$1,000 got me 6 months of insulin for my son. That's still less than what I pay a month in the United States.
Gloria Steinem has suggested that younger women are supporting Bernie Sanders so they can meet boys.
Hello, Bernie. We lost our condo, got foreclosed on because of my medical bills.
I don't understand young women who support him.
I trust that Bernie Sanders is going to fight for health care and to lower prescription costs.
Of all the presidential candidates, you're the one that I trust.
Thank you so much for what you're doing. You're just giving us a help. Thank you. And we got your back.
I think he comes off as mean. I think he's disparaging.
I don't want to overpromise here.
Bernie Sanders makes my skin crawl, and I can't even identify for you what exactly it is.
Bernie Sanders has done nothing between 2016 and today.
Thank you for everything you've done these last few years. You've helped to reset our political discourse, and are demanding that we center our politics around justice and equity. I am hopeful because right now, there is a mass movement of people from all over this country, rising up.
Thank you all very much.
It ain't Bernie. It is us.
If we come together, we will win. People are always saying, oh, you're being too vocal.
Hey, Bernie, you don't have to yell.
I don't feel I'm being vocal enough. We are not being vocal enough. When is enough enough?
He sounds very, very shouty.
Louder. Yeah, we gotta get louder. How many kids are gonna have to make this sacrifice and die? How can you sleep at night knowing that kids can't afford insulin? How is that possible?
It's not right.
So yeah, like I said, the ad was a little long, but I felt like it was important to sit through that entire ad. That was an amazing ad, and I do feel like it had one clear goal: to show what people are seeing on the ground, what they're experiencing from Bernie personally on the ground, what benefits could be coming their way through this movement that Bernie Sanders started in 2016, how people respond to him. And also, I think Orf does and by the way, his name is, and I want to make sure I get this correct, it's Matt Orfalia. So make sure you go follow him on Twitter. It's ORF, @ORF. But what he is demonstrating is that the clear goal of the video is to show just the individual grassroots support that there is for Bernie, and how incredibly far off, like they're in a different stratosphere. It's one thing that, you're just not reading the room correctly, which happens sometimes. Maybe, like, just for example, him shouting a lot to some people in a certain context, that could be a very bad thing. Until you ask people, well, why is Bernie shouting? Why is he angry? Because Bernie is reflecting the anger, the disparity, the hardship, and the plight of the average American citizen. When you have to listen to story after story after story every single day, multiple events, multiple cities, it wouldn't take me but one story of a mother telling me that her son had to ration his insulin just so he could try and survive on diabetes, and it didn't work out for him. That one story would have me yelling. I yell half the time on my show because of stuff like that. So imagine listening to this every single day, every single hour of every single day. You would be angry too. So yeah, maybe in a vacuum you might have a good point, but Bernie is rightfully shouting because the country is angry at the status quo. I want to talk about some of the stuff that was said in the video. When they called him what? The woman in the beginning said he's unlikable, he's pushy, and he shouldn't be leading anyone. Based off of what? Based off of what? Now, I want to be very clear about something. Notice all the ad hominem attacks that were being lobbed against him, and it's crazy to see it all like just all gathered into one video. Because I didn't even realize how many ad hominem attacks were. Like, you're kind of cognizant of it, but like I wasn't sure, like wasn't quite aware of the gravity of the amount of ad hominem attacks on this man's, whether it be his looks, his age, how he talks, how he acts. And all I could think of was, wow, if someone said that Hillary was unlikable and pushy on national television with really no, like, it was completely uncalled for, unwarranted, was unsubstantiated by policy. It was absent of critiques from other people who have interacted with him who may like him or may not have liked. It was just, he's unlikable and pushy, and therefore he shouldn't be leading anybody. If that was something that was said about Hillary Clinton, by a man especially, he would be called sexist. If that was said about Kamala Harris by a male, or even by a white woman, She might be called racist, and then the male would be called sexist and potentially racist. Why must we constantly discuss ad hominem, like this surface level nonsense that isn't even an accurate, like they don't even depict Bernie the way that the average American sees him. The average American sees Bernie as a rock star. But they try and like warp this depiction of him to such a, like, to the point where you're like, bro, who's taking this seriously? And if this was said about somebody else, we know for a fact how that would play out. So they'll comment about how old is too old. Really, bruh? I love the fact that Matt put that that video of him hitting a softball, because boy, what? I was kind of like, damn, how old was this video? And that was a softball game, I believe, from this election cycle. So Bernie still got it. He still runs all the time. You know, age. Think about it like this. Joe Biden's mind compared to Bernie's mind, and Bernie is 1 year older than Biden. Yeah, age, it's somewhat of a factor, but only relative to the condition of your health at your age. That's why you have vice presidents for. So the whole thing, socialists yelling at people in that same screechy voice without smiling or any personal connection. It goes back to what I was saying earlier. That's nonsense. First of all, stop calling Bernie a socialist. He's a Democratic socialist, and socialists don't like when you call him a socialist. I'm not even a socialist, but I see this way too often. He's a Democratic socialist. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. But smiling or no personal connection, that is a lie. Yeah, that's speaking from personal experience. Not only is there generally a personal connection that you feel with Bernie, but if you've ever interacted with other people in his campaign, especially in 2016, whether it be Jane, whether it be Nina, whether it be Cornel West, whether it be Killer Mike, you do feel like they're not looking past you, that they're listening to you, that they want to take your experiences and use that for fuel going forward in their campaign. Why do you think that people chant Bernie every time he walks into a room? I remember at the convention, man, don't get me started on that. Tears. Remember, the entire convention was in tears. Everybody outside the convention protesting it was in tears. Yeah, because clearly it's because of a lack of personal connection. The thing that probably stood out to me more than anything, though, was the comment that they said, Bernie has done nothing since 2016 up until today. And they said this with a straight face. A straight face, okay? Here's a small list of things that we can either contribute or attribute to Bernie directly or indirectly in some way, form, or fashion since 2016. So not even including things that he's obviously done before 2016, which led up to his popularity by the end of 2016. I'm talking about just from 2016 to right now. Our revolution. Need I say more? The Bezos Act. The Yemen bill he co-introduced in the Senate. Nina Turner's heightened profile. And at this point now, everybody knows and considers Nina Turner to be a treasure to the progressive movement. And she's helped our revolution succeed because of that. Many progressives in the Democratic Party love the Justice Democrats. Many progressives, they love the Justice Democrats. However, I'm about them. They have their good days and their bad days, but Justice Democrats would not have been a thing if it wasn't for Bernie Sanders. Andrew Yang was inspired to run by Bernie Sanders, voted for Bernie in 2016. Tulsi found her courage standing up for Bernie Sanders in the political system that tried to hold him down in 2016. And we probably wouldn't have Tulsi in this rare form that she is in, if it wasn't for Bernie Sanders taking a chance on himself to run in 2016 and kind of showing just how corrupt the system is, that in that corruption was what basically made Tulsi feel like she was forced to stand up. Which that's, once again, Tulsi was always going to be quote unquote a presidential candidate, but she ended up on the right side of history because of Bernie taking the charge in 2016 and her standing up for him. People Summit. If you don't know, he did it twice. It was I think it was 2016 and 2017. He had 2 People Summits. I know the one I went to was in Chicago. It's fantastic. Teaches you how to organize, encourages people to run for office, a bunch of different things. Allow progressives to showcase what they had going on in their respective regions of the country to push the movement forward. People Summit was fantastic. That was spearheaded by Bernie, of course. And you have, and once again, some way, form, or fashion, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Tiffany Caban, who didn't quite win. She won, but she was cheated. But she won by running a very grassroots campaign, a very Bernie-esque campaign. Tim Canova. And there's many others on the political side that were born and who have been fighting because of the movement Bernie Sanders started, and because they felt like there was a chance that they could actually join, fight this system and it win, or at least make an impact because of what Bernie Sanders did in 2016. The Young Turks, Jimmy Dore, Tim Black, Jamal Thomas, Mike Figueredo, David Dole, and even myself, and I'm sure several others. The Convo Couch, Fiorello and Pasta. Whether or not I agree with a lot of those people, and most of the time, of course, basically outside of our support for Bernie, we have a lot of different ways of seeing the world, to say the least. But yeah, would all of us perhaps have found our voice and, of course, been successful in our own right without a Bernie Sanders coming into the fold? Of course, probably in some way. But that fight, that fire that was ignited by Bernie Sanders in 2016 directly and to some people indirectly contributed to the individual success of all of us in some way, form, or fashion. And that's undeniable, whether or not I agree with them. So to say Bernie has done nothing since 2016 is laughable because, let's be quite honest, the establishment spends every day fighting products of 2016. They have entire organizations dedicated to it now. Look at what's that damn organization called? Third Way. Literally, that product is dedicated to fighting, or that organization is dedicated to fighting products like myself from 2016. Everybody on the debate stage has to echo what Bernie Sanders has said in some way, form, or fashion. Why? Because he's done nothing, or because what he has done has, for the most part, been extremely effective, and they know that Americans largely agree with Bernie when it comes especially to domestic policy. So let's be real. Let's be real. The mainstream media is full of shit. They're full of it. And I want to thank Matt for doing such a fantastic video exposing all that nonsense. And it is indeed nonsense. So, other than that, people, thank you all so much for tuning into that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace. Hey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Also, you can help us upgrade the studio and take this show on the road to cover the on-the-ground politics that you love by clicking on that GoFundMe link in the description and donating literally anything. Anything helps. Also, you can follow us on Rockfin, on Twitter, and on Facebook as well. And hey, more than anything else, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.